Apple juice. What's going on, you guys? It's Rob, the wrestling old head, and today we are talking about John Cena in his retirement tour. Now, look, I mean, that's going to be a totally different video, but is he really going to retire, or is this just him fading into the darkness, fading into the shadows for a little bit before he comes back for a couple more matches? The guy's retiring at a very, very young. Is he like 50 or is he 47? One of the age. Like maybe he's 47. For some reason, I think he's 53, but I could be wrong. Maybe that's The Rock, and maybe I'm confusing him with The Rock. But anyways, he's going to retire at a very youthful late 40s or early 50s, regardless of his age. It's interesting to me that he's deciding to bow out at this point in his career. I would assume that he's doing that because he would like to do more films. And John Cena is probably one of the better wrestler turned actors out there. He's no Dave Bautista. Dave Bautista is one of the best, but he does a great job. So I understand why he wants to retire early if he wants to go to Hollywood and dedicate himself to that craft. So as he is, fading off into the sunset, and pretty soon we really won't be able to see him. I want to break down potential opponents for him. I want to break them down like a shotgun. But before I start talking about who his opponents need to be, and I'm not going to name 12, but I think that I should get close to 12, if only because he should be wrestling one superstar a month. However, he has already listed himself as a participant in the 2025 Royal Rumble. So I don't think he's going to be having a singles match in January. He will be a part of the Royal Rumble. I'm sure he's going to be a part of Elimination Chamber. If I were him, I would be a part of Money in the Bank. I know he's going to be a part of WrestleMania. So maybe he should do the King of the Ring. Maybe he should do the King of the Ring. Yeah, he should probably do something like that. But whatever he's going to do, whatever he decides to do, I want to list off his opponents. But before I do that, I do want to talk about the actual John Cena retirement tour and what that means. They should be having a ton of fun with him retiring. I think this is a really rare and unique opportunity for somebody as fun and spontaneous and exciting and charismatic as John Cena to pop up at weird places. Take a cue from the final boss, The Rock, who showed up as shareholder Dwayne on Raw on Netflix, and then later Dive Bar Dwayne on NXT. I think that John Cena should show up on NXT. He should do a promo. I think they should do more legends coming out and cutting promos and talking to some of the younger talent backstage and in the ring, maybe through promo battles or a confrontation or even just a show of respect. Like, you could be the future, or some young guy comes out and says, I watched you growing up. Like a Javon Evans getting in the ring and talking to John Cena would be really good for Javon Evans. And it also kind of like big up this idea that John Cena really is saying goodbye. So he's doing these things that he wouldn't have done or we wouldn't have expected for him to do, like show up randomly in the NXT. Another place I think he should randomly show up is TNA. That's right. John Cena in TNA. Never would have thought we would have seen that, right? Now imagine if he does show up and he starts talking about the locker room in TNA and the connection that TNA has with their fans and the love that the WWE shares with TNA, kind of a bridge of sorts. And then John Cena can maybe introduce Nick Nemeth or something, and the history with Nick Nemeth. Just wanted to come out and talk to Nick Nemeth. And say that I'm proud that you're the TNA World Heavyweight Champion or something like that. I mean, there's so much that you can toy with. But the one that I've been hearing a lot of, and I will give credit to Solomonster. Solomonster is YouTube creator, legend, icon. I'm telling you, there are so many. He's one of the reasons why I started to do YouTube creation videos, and probably about 15 years too late, to be honest with you. But one of the reasons why I started to do it, because so many times I found myself thinking of these scenarios or these theories or fantasy cooking ideas or whatever, And then I would listen to Solomonster, and I came across Solomonster pretty late in the game. Like, I just started following him about a few years ago, 4 years ago or so. And I would listen to some of his stuff and what he would say, and I go, oh my God, that's exactly what I was thinking, or that's exactly what I wrote down, or that's exactly what I'm saying. So I felt like, I mean, there is a community out there of like-minded individuals that we have similar paths as far as wrestling fandom goes. And Solomonster, I must give him credit, is the one that put this idea into my head, which is John Cena showing up for Pro Wrestling Noah. I think it's perfect. Now, he didn't say it exactly like that. He actually said that it should be John Cena against Hiroshi Tanahashi, because Hiroshi Tanahashi is also fading out into the sunset and retiring. And, rightfully so, because he's basically heading up in JPW right now, New Japan Pro Wrestling. So it got me thinking when he said that, yeah, there's a relationship there between the WWE and Pro Wrestling Noah. What if John Cena got out and teamed with Great Muta, or who also retired, or has a ceremony with Tatsumi Fujinami, or a match with Kenta? I think there's just so much to play with, although I believe Kenta is in New Japan Pro Wrestling. But New Japan Pro Wrestling and Pro Wrestling Noah have done joint stuff before, so this wouldn't be out of the ordinary to really fantasy cook and get a dream match out of John Cena in Japan. But even if he doesn't wrestle, just the idea of him showing up in Japan and bowing and being appreciative of the sport of professional wrestling and the way that they do it out in Japan would be huge stuff. Talk about headlines. Another one, and probably the final one, but the biggest one, is AAA. AAA, Conan, is another promotion out of Mexico. The WWE is going to be going to Mexico really soon. I think Bad Bunny pump faked a little bit and got us thinking that it was going to happen for Backlash. It's going to happen. And when it happens, they've got an array of talent right now at their arsenal that they can use that could be huge business for them out there. I mean, you got Rey Mysterio Jr., you got Dragon Lee, you got Andrade El Idolo, you just got Penta El Cerro Miedo, and if they wait long enough, you're going to have Phoenix, and I mean, that's even huge. You've got Rey Mysterio Jr., his son, Dominic Mysterio, and you got Legado del Fantasma with Santos Escobar. So you've got an array of great Mexican talent that could headline any big show, and doing some joint venture with AAA and having John Cena show up. I mean, JBL's already been out there. Nick Nemeth has been out there. Conan is the booker. Conan has a rich history with AAA, Mexican wrestling in general, coming from WCW. The way that he books is more on the entertainment-based things. They do storylines, and they have interesting, ways that they throw feuds together. Having John Cena show up on that, I mean, not even a wrestle, although that is a dream to see John Cena wrestling for AAA in a trios match or something like that. I think it would be huge business, but you get the idea. Is like, I think that this should be in his retirement tour. We should see John Cena in situations that we never thought we were going to see him. He should pop out and really have a good time and really say, like, guys, I had the greatest time being a professional wrestler, and I have the greatest time watching the WWE universe expand the way that it is, to connect with all of these other companies all over the world. I just want to show my appreciation and be out there. And as that spokesperson, as that legend and that icon, the way that he is, to show up and be a part of these other companies, and to show up and just be able to speak about that and how he feels, I think could be huge. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying he should wrestle, because there is, injuries, that this is going to be his last year. You want him to take it easy, and I get all of that, but just to show up in NXT, TNA, Pro Wrestling Noah, AAA could be huge. Okay, now let's get into his opponents. Number one on the list, Gunther. I think this is the match that the Rocky fan, CM Punk, if you've never seen this Rocky IV, the Rocky IV fan in me wants to see somebody like Gunther go against a veteran, an aging veteran like John Cena, and I really like the idea of it. It's sort of a dream match. Gunther Volta, or whatever you want to call him, he is the opponent that John Cena always looked for. This, when John Cena was doing his superhero run, when Brock Lesnar wasn't around all the time, when he had Umaga, when he had JBL, when he had Wade Barrett, this and for a little bit he had Ryback, and then the big feud for me with CM Punk. This was the guy that, if he would have shown up at that time, would have been the nemesis of nemesis for him. Just everything about him, it just screams like counterpart to what John Cena was at that time. And so it's just, and I think the promos could be sensational. I really think this is someone that should be on the top of the list for John Cena to attempt to overcome. Whether or not there's a world championship on the line, I really would like to see those two get in the ring. I think it could be special, and I think it could be special for Gunther, just to have that on his resume, to say, in the last year of John Cena, I was a part of that by beating him. And I really think Gunther should win. I really do. I think that is something that is a statement for where they want Gunther to go going forward. I'm not saying that this should be a one-off. Even if they have two matches, John Cena wins the first with the cradle, and then Gunther gets his revenge. However they want to write it, book it, deliver it, I'm going to sit back and enjoy it for the ride, but I would really like to see that match, and I think that's why it's on the top of my list. Number 2, Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre has had a sensational couple of years. And again, he is like very similar to Gunther. And if this Drew McIntyre would have been around in the WWE during John Cena's heyday, he would have been the nemesis of nemesis. This is, he is built up as a villain for John Cena, even though John Cena is no longer around. He's got the look, the attitude, and now he can talk. I mean, I think he's always been able to talk, but I think what's happening now is that the WWE is trusting what he has to say, and they're allowing him to go out there and speak from the heart. And I think you can feel that, and hearing what he might have to say to John Cena, and John Cena's inevitable retort, which is one of the best things that John Cena does on the mic, is his defense on the microphone. It's not so much his offense, it's the way that he responds to the criticism, responds to the digs, responds to the put-downs, no matter how personal they get, no matter how, downright cutting below the belt, like crossing the line they get with John Cena. He's always got a retort that really hits them below the belt and really, really digs into who they are. And some people have a hard time getting out of that once they get really, really hit. And Austin Theory is one of them. If you look at Austin Theory now, he's having a hard time to dig himself out of the hole that John Cena dug him when they were having their feud a few years back. So Drew McIntyre, I think, would be a formidable opponent for John Cena, and that's why he's on the top of my list as well, because it's needed. The WWE needs to let them go out there and cook. Number 3, the OTC Roman Reigns. Roman was almost a victim of John Cena's counter, of his promo. Roman Reigns successfully, might I add, he got over that. He got over that obstacle. He made a name for himself. He carved his path, and he got way better on the microphone. And he wasn't using the cookie cutter, like scripted, like very corny and cheesy dialogue anymore. Roman Reigns has now become his own man, and probably one of the most successful, dominant superstars the WWE has ever seen. And he did it in a way that was very different than John Cena. Although the Machine tried very, very hard to get him to be the heir apparent to John Cena, Roman Reigns carved his own path. And because of that, just like Roman Reigns did to The Undertaker, the dog, the My House Roman Reigns needs to say needs to put John Cena out to pasture and send him on his way. Whether it's the middle of the year or towards the end of the year, they've got to cross paths and have one more match. And I think it would be the closing of an important chapter. Where are we at now? 4. So I got Braun Breaker on the list for number 4. And the reason I got Braun Breaker is because I can see the promo in my head. You know, my uncle told me about you, like Braun Breaker, just referring to Scott Steiner and his feud that he had with John Cena for a while there. I really can imagine the types of promos. Braun Breaker needs this match. If Braun Breaker's going to have a breakout year, pun intended, if 2026 is going to be his elevation, if you will, to a top guy, then 2025 has to be him beating certified legends and main event talent. And it should start with John Cena. Even if it's just interaction, but to be honest, I think it would be a badass match, and I'd really like to see it. And I understand right now that Braun Breaker has the Intercontinental Championship, that it really doesn't make sense for John Cena to be going after the Intercontinental Championship. But patience, Iago, patience. I feel that on the other side of his Intercontinental Championship run, we may see a singles match without a title on the line between John Cena and Braun Breaker, and I hope that this year we get to see it. Coming in at number 5 is Karrion Kross, another one that I feel it's going to be a breakout year for him. This is his year. If you've been watching the interviews that he has been on podcasts, the interviews that he's had on podcasts, it's an amazing. He's been doing an amazing run with press. He has his book that came out. I mean, the guy is doing interviews with Chaz Palminteri. I mean, legendary actor. If you guys remember Bronx Tale, or even recently a very lesser known movie, but it was still badass with Paul Walker, Running Scared. Chaz Palminteri is an actor's actor, and he had Karrion Kross on, and it was a fast-paced 48 minutes or so, and it went by so quick. I mean, Karrion Kross can talk. He has a way with words. He has a way with captivating you with what he has to say. And if you've watched any of his promos on X or any of his promos on YouTube, he's just, I'm telling you, one promo away, one universal promo away, one great match, one great program away from really making his mark as a Hall of Fame WWE talent. And I think one of the ways to get him closer to that is to put him in the ring with John Cena. Now, if you recall, earlier last year, there was a vignette that was done with Karrion Kross and the Final Testament, and he mentioned John Cena by name. So based on that, they have a loose end to tie. And this is something that not only Karrion Kross needs, but I also believe John Cena needs. John Cena, again, if he had these guys to work with in his prime, Karrion Kross, Drew McIntyre, Braun Breaker, Gunther, I mean, gosh, these are the guys that John Cena needed when he was in his heyday. He needed these arch nemesis, these villains. And I think that Karrion Kross, maybe he doesn't win this one, right? But I think even if he doesn't come out on top, he gets in John Cena's head, causes him to have insecurities, and overall, we see what Kross mind games do to a legend like John Cena. That's what I'm hoping for. So now we're at number 6, CM Punk. CM Punk has been teasing it. Hell, John Cena has been avoiding it for the most part. It's got to happen. And they should run it back in Chicago. I think it would be a perfect place to run back one of the biggest matches in not only CM Punk's career, but one of the biggest matches in John Cena's career. The match where CM Punk left the arena with the WWE Championship and his contract had expired. He redid the Summer of Punk that he did in Ring of Honor, he redid it in the WWE. He blows a kiss to Vince McMahon, and he's out of there. And they never did what I thought they were going to do, which was have CM Punk go on the independent circuit with the WWE Championship. If only a company like Ring of Honor was around, or TNA was doing really good and was working with other promotions, we might have seen it, because that would have been the best part of that, if they would have executed him really going everywhere he could to flaunt the WWE Championship, saying that he got the belt away from the WWE. It would have been huge. It would have been amazing. As it stands, we got a great match. We got a adequate storyline, and we've got unfinished business. Two legends, similar in age. They need to settle it in the ring, maybe for a Saturday night's main event or something like that, and then maybe do a couple tag matches together. Cena has aged in a way where it's hilarious. He almost looks like a different version of John Cena, you know? Like, Cena's like buff and cut, but they almost have the same haircut now. It's like CM Punk is turning into John Cena in a weird way, you know, just like a less like bulky John Cena. And I mean that with all due respect. I love CM Punk, but it's so funny to see that, you know, like he's wearing suits now, he's doing press, he's, you know, doing charitable events and everything like that. It's like CM Punk is like, he's still the punker, you know, he's still Punk, he's still pipe bomb Punk, but it seems to me that he might have a lot in common with Cena now. Who knows? But I would like to see them at least interact in the ring with a promo, but a match, it has to happen before John Cena calls it quits. Coming in at number 7, Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, the run that he's having right now with Cody Rhodes, hopefully they don't forget about it when this feud with Cody Rhodes is over, and he continues this bastard, this asshole, this mind game psycho, loose cannon Kevin Owens, because it works. And to have Kevin Owens come out and try and get in the head of John Cena, and then they have brawls, I think would be some good stuff. I would love to see Kevin Owens try to do a package pile driver to John Cena. I think everybody would gasp and go, like, he's trying to end John Cena's career early. Amazing if they were to do something like that. I would love to see it happen, and hopefully it happens early in the year, maybe in the summer, who knows. I mean, that's a match that you can have in Saudi Arabia easily. I don't know if Kevin Owens goes to Saudi Arabia, so if he doesn't, I take that back, and I'll say like a Backlash main event or something. That would be something that I would like to see that match happen. Definitely a brawl, definitely giving John Cena the win there, but I think it could be some good television with the two going back and forth in the build-up to that. Coming in at number 8, Randy Orton. Randy Orton, I've heard a lot of people say that should be the final opponent for John Cena. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I would say that John Cena's final opponent needs to be a younger guy as a passing of the torch. Something that I would have always liked to see a legend actually do is like really pass the torch and hand it off to a younger guy. But Randy Orton, they got some unfinished business as well. I don't know what the state of Randy Orton's going to be when he returns. I had this vision of him kicking under a ladder from Kevin Owens and hitting the RKO as Kevin Owens is falling off the ladder in the ladder match with Cody Rhodes, and then building to a triple threat between those three, and Randy Orton kind of teetering between that venomous viper Randy Orton, you know, getting his mean streak back because of what Kevin Owens did to him. So really being a loose cannon, we're not really sure what Randy Orton we're getting. He even RKOs Cody Rhodes. And it's not because he's going to turn on Cody Rhodes. It's just that he doesn't trust anybody. He doesn't care about anybody. He wants the WWE Championship, and he becomes that monster. He becomes unhinged. That Randy Orton, the way that he looks, too, with his size, could be a beast. And it could almost remind John Cena a little bit of what happened with he and Brock Lesnar. So I would like to see them get in the ring for just one more match. I think it would be really special. Logan Paul. Nobody wants to see that match. Apparently, they're trying to pitch that for WrestleMania, and everybody's turning it down. I still want to see it. I still think it's going to be great television. I still think their promos would be gold. I still want to see it. I think the athleticism of Logan Paul and the way that he would sell for John Cena would be huge. It would make John Cena look like $1 million. However, I think John Cena has the fundamentals, has the understanding, has the psychology down to the point where he would also make Logan Paul look like $1 million. And I think they could do something really special with one another. I think it could be a great match. And I'm not saying it should be for WrestleMania, but if I put money on it, I would have to say that Logan Paul would be up there as one of the top guys that I would like to see wrestle John Cena. I think that was 9. 10 is going to be Bronson Reed. I don't know if Bronson Reed is going to be back by the end of the year. I would hope so. And when he comes back, I hope he gives John Cena a tsunami. I think that would be huge for Bronson Reed, and that's one of the guys that I would like to see be the final opponent for John Cena, because that rub that young guy would get, like a Jonah, like Bronson Reed, after giving it his all, that guy could become a staple in professional wrestling, a legend. He could be solidified in the pantheon of the WWE forever by saying that he was the last match for John Cena. You don't need a legend. You don't need a rivalry renewed. You need something like that, as John Cena bows out gracefully, is to pass the torch to not just maybe an heir apparent, but more specifically, a monster, a beast. Somebody that they could use his momentum of beating John Cena in his final match to carry him on to being a top champion or to being a top contender for the championship. A couple of honorable mentions. I would like to see him tag team with R-Truth. I think it's got to happen, and maybe a tag team title run. I think it would be good. I think it's important because it ties up that story, you know, that ongoing story with R-Truth saying that he looked up to John Cena his whole life and he wanted to be John Cena when he grew up. I mean, you got to tie that story together. You got to do it. Dominic Mysterio is someone else I'd like to see him get in the ring with. The Boo Day, the New Day that's getting booed. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, having something with them would be, I mean, you got to do it, right? You really, I would love to see it. Cody Rhodes, I would love to see some interactions with Cody Rhodes and John Cena. I think they would cut great promos to one another. That's another person that I would like to see wrestle John Cena. He's not on my list, but I would like to see the match, if only because that is who John Cena inevitably should be passing the torch to. Whether it's a tag match, whether it's John Cena's farewell speech and then he calls Cody Rhodes out, shakes his hand, and then walks off into the sunset, something like that. Maybe John Cena gives him his sneakers. Something like that needs to happen as John Cena fades out. And a couple other guys, Solo Sikoa, who has a win, I believe, over John Cena, destroyed John Cena with a bunch of his the thumb to the neck, the thumb punches to death. I forget the name of it though. But yeah, got to see a match with Solo Sikoa and John Cena. Jacob Fatu and John Cena, oh my God, that would rule. I think John Cena is probably looking at Jacob Fatu as Umaga 2.0, and I think that they could have that kind of like clash where John Cena starts to have memories of Umaga. You know, I think it would be a special confrontation. And Obafemi. I know Obafemi is the NXT World Heavyweight Champion and everything like that, but Obafemi is a monster. And before John Cena fades out into the Legends quarters of the WWE, a match with Obafemi, it'd be very huge and much, much needed. Look, I didn't think this video was going to be this long, but I really wanted to kind of show my appreciation for John Cena. Growing up, I was in and out of the fandom of John Cena. You know, I grew up, I wasn't a little kid watching John Cena, but I understood what they were trying to do. I liked rapper John Cena, and I felt after rapper John Cena, he became basically like colorful. I like, you know, do this for the kids. I'm a superhero, John Cena, and I respected that. He did it in a way that was different than Hulk Hogan. He did it in a way that was different than anybody that had come before him. He changed the way you looked at, he single-handedly saved the WWE. At that time, they needed somebody to step up, and he did. And he did the best he could. And he had a hell of a run. Super Cena, say what you will, it was a hell of a run. He had some great matches. I know, 5 moves of doom type of guy, whatever. The guy was entertaining. The guy was captivating. He put his all into the business. He had great promos. He had some great counterparts, some great dance partners, and even the ones that weren't great dance partners, he got the best out of them. So I have to give my props to John Cena. I know this is going to be his last year, but I hope to see him back, here and there, intermittently just coming back, maybe having a couple of one-off matches and whatnot. He's still young. He's like between 47 and 53, and I can't remember the age right now, but he's got enough left to where he can go act for about 10 years, come back, and in his 60s, do like a Sting run. The guy should be in the Hall of Fame coming up really, really soon. I don't know if they're going to do it this year, or if they're going to wait until like the following year, tuck that in their pocket and keep it for a couple of years afterwards, just to draw him back in when they know that they need him. Whatever they want to do, I just got to say that this is going to be a historic run for John Cena. If anybody on that list is standing across the ring with John Cena, I'll be happy, and I hope the performers are going to be happy to see that as well. I look forward to seeing what they're going to do with this run, what types of stories that they set out for John Cena, and it's going to be a great ride. And I look forward to it. So you guys let me know what you think about the list. Is it pretty accurate? Would you like to see it? You guys, would you like to see the actual matches? Not my actual list, but would you like to see, you just made the list, or would you actually like to see those matches? You guys let me know in the comments. Thumbs up on the way out, on the notification bell to keep you informed on when I'll be dropping other videos. And as I always say, you guys, this is the Wrestling Old Head in the portal of pro wrestling. Stay tuned for more.